Folks, welcome back. Today I want to try to save people from falling into a couple traps in this whole Pokemon collecting, investing world. And one of which came up in a stream last night where somebody brought up the TCG Classic Collection. If you guys don't know what that is, it's that big black box that started out really high and it's done nothing but drop ever since release. And now it's starting to recover a little bit. And people were talking about it, saying things like, I missed out on buying it because now it's up. And you hear this all the time, right? Whether it be a sealed product, whether it be a card or a slab, whenever something rises, you always hear people saying, I missed out. I don't own any of it. But I want to explain to you how that is actually the completely wrong way of thinking about it. You didn't miss out. I didn't miss out on it. I purposely did not buy that. In fact, when people were buying that and now they have seen some gains, I was buying all the items that have seen exponentially more gains than that item in the same period of time. That's the important part. Unless you have unlimited capital and you can literally catch them all and buy every single item and every single card, you have to make decisions. You have to make choices. And just because you made choices to move into other items, it doesn't mean you missed out because the items you didn't buy went up. Perfect example. What if you bought Lost Origin, Fusion Strike a few months ago when people were buying this TCG Classic Collection? TCG Classic Collection's up a little bit. Lost Origin, Fusion Strike up exponentially more, right? I mean, you could have even bought Destined Rivals at the price point it's at right now months ago and done better than this TCG Classic Collection. And I'm only picking on that one product because that was brought up in the chat last night. But it's any product, guys. It's any time someone sees a card go up or an item go up and they get that feeling they're missing out because they don't own it, right? You're not missing out. You have to think about what you were buying back when you could have also bought that. Or did you have the funds to buy that at the time it was lower? A lot of the times when you start thinking about it, you'll realize you were actually probably better off than trying to run around catching every single item. Which brings me into my next point. This idea of combining collecting and investing, I think is really throwing people for a loop. I actually had a consultation call yesterday, and to one of the topics we discussed is this idea of, are you being a collector or are you looking to invest, right? And I understand you can do both, but if you're looking to invest, you can't worry about having every single set, right? You can't worry about having a equal position in all the sets, right? Hey, look, if something took off without you and you no longer think it's a good value, you think there's better value somewhere else, the other thing makes better investment sense, right? And so if you're just getting in the hobby and you're saying, well, Alex, Lost Origin, Fusion Strike just went on a massive run. It really doesn't seem really doesn't seem as attractive as some of these other items I could be buying right now. And I'll say, yeah, for sure. But they'll say, but I already have these other items, right? I already have, some prismatic evolutions. I already have 151. I already have Paldea and Fates. So shouldn't I be buying some of these items I don't have? No. Why? Why should you be buying things you don't have just because you don't have them? Are you trying to collect? If you're trying to collect, that's a different story, right? Go buy one of everything, build out your collection. But if you're looking for value, don't just blindly go down the line and just say, well, I'll just pay whatever the market price is for every single thing to make sure I have a position in everything. If you want to do that going forward, that's fine, but don't go chasing things, right? Don't go say, well, I don't have a team up box yet. I guess I'm paying 10K. I don't have a Phantom Forces. I gotta pay 12K. Why? Put that 12K into something else. You'll probably do a lot better. Again, if you're looking to invest. And I think these are kind of some big pitfalls I see a lot of people kind of running into right now is they're not really coming to the conclusion if they're trying to collect or invest with their funds. And when you are trying to invest, when you've made the decision, I'm going to allocate X amount of dollars to invest in it, you have to understand that then you're no longer trying to complete sets. You're no longer trying to get every item, right? You're no longer trying to have a position in everything. And you're also no longer looking at what maybe the best sets are. You're looking at what the best value is on that day, right? Because what could have been the best item at release may not be the best item to buy now. We just talked about the last video yesterday with these booster bundle displays, right? The booster bundle display, when everything was relatively the same cost, probably made the most sense, right? Best item, right? The PCETB at MSRP, obvious buy. Even at $100, $200, obvious buy. 151 PCTB, $1,000. Now it gets a little fishy. Do I buy the PCTB? Do I buy the 151 booster bundle display? Or do I get one of the other items with a much lower cost value? Maybe like regular bundles, right? Maybe Sea and Sky or Blooming Waters boxes, right? Maybe a 25 count bundle case. And see, it changes as the price points change. Whereas, if you're trying to be a collector saying, well, I have a prismatic bundle, I've got a Paldean Fates bundle display, I gotta get a 151 bundle display for my investment. Why? Why? Just because you have the other two? See, now you're being a collector again, right? And that's fine as long as you understand that being a collector first is not going to get you the best value as an investor and be the most prudent purchase, I would say. And again, it kind of loops back around what we talked about in the beginning of the video is understand that just because things move does not mean you missed out, right? Everything's always moving, right? Everything's always, moving up right now in this market. But just because a card moves, a box moves, it doesn't even mean that you made the wrong decision. Sometimes you're going to make the wrong decisions, right? There are items right now in this market. There are cards right now in this market that are moving more than things I bought at the same time I could have bought that. That's life. That's investing. But a lot of the times, I'm sure if you look at what you bought your items for and look at what the item that you're now looking at, because it's the shiny new thing to talk about, was cost back then and what it costs now, a lot of times you're going to realize, wait a second, I still made the right decision. I still made the right decision, buying Paldea Evolve back when it was $200 a box, when people were saying, this new thing was a buy, 2 years ago. It's like, was it? Because the new thing's only up 100%. I'm up, 300, whatever it is. And so I would just try to remove yourself from that, new shiny object. It's moving up. So people have to talk about it and you feel that you feel that feeling that you missed out, but you really didn't. Because you're only looking at like what price you could have bought that item for and what it's at now. You're not looking at what other items you could have bought back then at the same time, at the same price and what they're at now. And just don't get into the whole invest collect thing. You can do both, but understand when you're going to the marketplace and bringing your funds to the marketplace, have a specific idea in mind of what you're doing. Am I here as a collector? Go buy what you like, man. Go look, I've got freaking, Arvin and Mabostif cards on my shelf. You think I'm investing in those things? I just like the Mabostif. It reminds me of, my dogs I've had my whole life. We grew up with English Mastiffs. I like the Mabostif, right? But if you're going to the market to invest, I'm not buying Mabostif. I'm not buying Arvin, right? I'm buying things like 151. I'm buying Paldean Fates. I'm buying Prismatic Evolutions. And so, I don't know. Hopefully that video helped, guys. Just short and sweet today. I just wanted to get a couple of those thoughts out. I think a lot of people out there kind of need to hear some like these type of things. Let me know in the comments if it did help, and be back in a new one soon. I'm out.